Boy, what is up? No, good Lord, I am dark. I'm sorry. I did not know. It looked good when I started. But either way, what's up, Nomad Nation? You've got Godfather. I am 1/3 of your Nomad Gamers. We made it through another week. It is Talking Tuesday, and it is a big one tonight. We've got news all over the place from a couple of our favorite games, and they dropped some absolute bombs on us, just afternoon today, I believe. So we're going to get into that. We're going to get into some Arc Raiders. We're going to get into some Elder Scrolls 6. I'm hoping that Zanar Crest Rider is going to watch this because he's going to want to hear what Todd Howard had to say. And then finally, we're going to round out Talking Tuesday with a little bit of Final Fantasy VII news that is coming up on the next installment of it. So if you are watching me over on Facebook, over on Kick, and over on Twitch, I want to say thank you very much. If you are not a follower, I would ask you to please hit that follow button that is right over here. Hit that follow button for me. Turn on your notifications. That way, every time that I come live, you are being notified. By the way, hello, Jeff over on TikTok. Thank you for watching. I do appreciate you. If you are watching over on YouTube, thank you very much. You found the home of the Nomad Gamers, where every Friday at 4 p.m. East or 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern. I don't know why that's so hard for me to say. Zanar Crest Rider and Fireball, they join me. We have a lot of fun talking about all of the gaming news that has been going on. And I promise there will be no more talk of AI. If I have to beat Fireball to death, I'm going to, but we're done with that for a while. Finally, well, not finally, next to finally, if you're watching me over on TikTok Live, you have found Godfather 1. If you're not a follower, I humbly ask you to please follow. And before you leave, do me a favor. It's real simple. All you got to do is tap, tap, tap all over that screen. Give me some likes. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. All right. Now, if you want to talk to your favorite Nomad, I don't know if you were watching last night's live stream or not. However, I got the ever-loving bejeebies scared out of me by Gaming Utopia. He jumped on to Discord, and we had a nice conversation while I was playing Grand Theft Auto. So if you want to talk with your favorite Nomad gamer, go on over to www.discord.com. Search for your Nomad Gamers. Do what you got to do to subscribe to the channel. There's a couple of steps in there. I think every channel has it. And then look down on the right hand or left hand part of your screen. Find the Grand Theft Auto chat and join. You don't have to be playing Grand Theft Auto. You could be playing Starfield. You could be playing World of Warcraft, Elder Scrolls, Escape from Tarkov, Arc Raiders, Minecraft, even that game I really disliked, Fortnite. You can be playing any of them. And if you just want to have a good conversation, come on over to Discord and I can hook you up. So, I forgot to shut that off. So, with all that being said, let's get into our Talking Tuesday talking points. So today, actually, let's rewind a little bit. If you would go back to Thursday when I was looking up Starfield, by the way, Sutter Kane, thank you for watching. You would know that when I looked over at Starfield, I started to get very upset. I've been getting upset with Starfield now for at least 6 months, maybe 8 months, because one, Shattered Space came out over a year ago. Two, they released it to content creators, which is not a bad thing. But it almost felt like Bethesda had orphaned Starfield. And I even asked on a Thirsty Thursday, did Bethesda orphan them? Did they just give up on the project? Say, it's not living up to what we thought. We're going to jettison this. No. The answer is no. I thought as early as last Thursday, that answer was all day, every day, yes. Today at noon, they proved me wrong. It is a big, fat no. They are still doing their thing with Starfield. So on April 7th, there was a whole bunch of news that came out. On April 7th, when they launched the DLC and the free, let's see if I can find it, the Tehran Armada DLC, the Trackers Alliance, which is live today. So if you're a Starfield player, go. You got all kinds of new stuff to go do. And also Free Roam, I believe is what it's called. On Free Lanes, I'm sorry. On April 7th, they are going to open their IP to PlayStation 5. So now Starfield will be on PlayStation 5, on Xbox, and on the PC. I am so flippin' excited for this that I have talked to Sweet Kitty Pie, my manager, that everybody knows that you want to get anything done around the Nomad Gamers or around the Shire, you need to go talk to Sweet Kitty Pie. Um, it looks like I am going to be re-downloading Starfield. It's new content. I can see and I've heard with my own two eyes that the developers and the artist, the lead content creator, all three of them were on there, and all three of them are committed to bringing us more content. Now, I kind of question why it took almost 2 years to get another DLC. For me, that's a little long in the process. I did find a little bit of news on it, and we're going to go over some of it real quick. Starfield producer admits Bethesda was surprised. They were surprised that players wanted more freedom to travel in space. If you are a Starfield player, you're going to know exactly what they're talking about. To go from one planet in the same solar system to another, there's a cutscene where your ship it flies through, and then you just show up at the next planet. Now with the free lane, you're going to be able to cruise from one planet to another in the same solar system, and from what I gather, maybe between systems as well. There is just so much to unpack. I don't know where to even start. So we're gonna keep going. This, by the way, was published on Game Rant today at 11:15 a.m. Eastern time, so 10:15 Central. April 7th will be a massive day for Bethesda sci-fi RPG Starfield as it receives its biggest update yet with free lanes and heads to the PS5 alongside the brand new Tron Armada DLC. While its arrival on a new console and some fresh story content for players to tackle are great, however, free lanes is the most game-changing element of the bunch. With the update, players will be allowed to travel freely through space as opposed to merely within the constraints of a planetary orbit, something fans have been requesting since Starfield launched in 2023. In essence, free lanes is Bethesda finally saying yes to its players when it comes to space exploration. And while it's only just arriving after over 2 years since the base game's release, it's an update that is arguably better late than never. I agree with everything they said there. Okay. Uh, the game felt clunky. The game felt really clunky. Uh, a lot of it was, Chungus, when he was on the Nomad Gamers, he brought up that the planets are empty. Fireball will tell you that the game is just boring. Zenar Crestrider will tell you it's a space themed uh, Fallout, but you just can't break nothing down. You can't pick everything up. Hi to hi. Thank you for watching. All of those are correct. All of those have merit. And then you got Godfather over here, and I am sitting on a damn pedestal. I am out with my rear end in the breeze, just a flapping away. And I am taking every one of these rounds. After about a year and a half of no update, year and a half of no DLC, a year and a half of no uh of radio silence from Bethesda, I couldn't take it anymore, and I had to discontinue playing Starfield. Now, I'm hoping that they get into everything else here in just a second. What's most interesting about the update, though, is that it wasn't even necessary in the first place. Oh, it was necessary. Bethesda maintained its journey first mindset while developing Starfield, but until Free Lanes arrives on April 7th, that journey has largely been confined to planet surfaces rather than space itself. Space is an empty area. Nobody can hear you scream in space. I think that was said on Star Trek. This is primarily due to the developers' initial assumption that players would rather get to their destination as quickly as possible rather than be required to make any lengthy trek there. And Starfield lead creative producer Tim Lamb uh, intimidated that in a recent interview with Game Rant, following a hands-off preview of Free Lanes at Bethesda's headquarters in Maryland, Lamb told us that the team was in fact initially surprised at what players craved and explained how Free Lanes is offering a full course meal to satisfy that hunger. They're introducing so much. We're gonna get through this, and then we're gonna go back and some of the announcement trailer that I saw today. Okay, this is mainly geared around. To be fair, Bethesda's assumptions probably weren't far off from what modern gamers want. They were way far off. Things move so much more quickly now than they ever have, to the point that someone scrolling through Instagram Reels is more likely to skip one that doesn't immediately grab them. If Starfield, from the beginning, forced players into extensive travel time between planets from the get-go, it might still have garnered criticism, only in the opposite direction. That is very true too. In a sense, Bethesda's original design for Starfield still promoted player agency because it made it easier for them to do what they wanted to do with less time between those tasks. Okay, a lot to unpack there. I I agree with what they said about the start of the game. The start of the game is very slow. And when you first get into the ship, you are trying to figure out how to work it. I don't know about you, but patience is not a virtue the good Lord gave me. I am a very impatient man, so I just blasted off. Up to the stars I went. I was more excited about the spaceship and about space travel than I was about all the introductions at the beginning. Now, once you get up there, it I think a happy medium here would be to put training wheels on new players and at least get them to New Atlantis before you take those training wheels back off, and maybe give them a little tutorial on how to fly. Because the one thing that Bethesda was not expecting with Starfield was two things: the outpost and the pride that players took in it. They should have seen that from Fallout with the pride that those players took in their camps. And then the second one was the pride that all the players were putting into their starships. You've got individuals out there who are building really small ships. I'm still a part of a bunch of those communities, but you got one. I just saw it the other day. It was an itty bitty tiny ship, just a one person thing, and he could zip around the galaxy and do his thing. And then you got others that are like literally this big and can hold a crew of 12. The problem with Starfield before the creators got involved was that it was a very clunky build. And if you remember when I was playing on Xbox, When I finally came over to PC, I told everyone out there that we're going to get to the point on the PC where I can build a ship. And then I'm going to compare the Xbox with the PC. Because when I built a ship on the Xbox, Zenar Crestwriter told me, he goes, guys, that looks like a pancake. It's flat. There is nothing, there's no character to it. I see where you're trying to go, but the whole, it just is flat. There's just nothing there. It's bland. So I was like, all right, cool. I will go to the PC and I will see if that's any better. Because we all know that on the PC, you can do a little bit more than what you can do on any of the consoles. So I was hoping to be able to spin it upside down and see the arrows going one way and going the other way and be able to snap this piece, then get on the inside and make the stairs go one way and the cockpit look. It just did not happen. And for everyone out there, I have a rule. I don't spend money on a game I've already bought. So I was not willing to go out there and buy a creator's creation. Granted, they're all great. These creators have been knocking it completely out of the park. And there's nothing against them. That's just my thing. I don't buy content online. I just don't do it. I've never done it. I haven't even bought a shark card on Grand Theft Auto, if that tells you anything. Uh, One of the things that they're doing here in this update with free lanes and uh, with the Tracker Alliance and with the Armada is they're bringing another vehicle to Starfield. Moon Jumper is what they called it. It looks pretty damn cool. I'm not going to lie, it does. They have revamped the camp or the outpost. They've revamped it. They're making things a little bit easier for us to create. They're bringing more quests. They've introduced a new faction. Uh, they've even made like a quantum box where you can set it up in Constellation's headquarters. And as you collect these new rare pieces, you can update this box to be able to carry forward through Unity a certain amount of gear that you acquired in your previous playthrough. Because I forget which one of the three said it, but they said, one of the biggest things we heard was I spent 150, 200 hours. And for gamers, that's a lot of time. I spend 250 some odd hours on this. I go through Unity and I lose it all. So now you gotta find the, and I don't have the name of it right now, but you gotta find these components to be able to build it. And once you build it and you upgrade it, you can put up to like 200 items in it, and those will be there when you move on to the next playthrough. Overall, I am very, very pleased with what they did with Starfield. And I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong. I was wrong. They weren't orphaning it. They were being very quiet about what they were doing in the background with Starfield. The only thing I wish they would do with Starfield, and they probably can't do it, and it's probably one of those wishes that you'll never be able to see get done. Starfield would be amazing if it was online. And what I mean by online is like Fallout 76. I would comment a little bit, and I'm going to save some comments about Elder Scrolls 6 because I'm going to be reporting on that here in just a few minutes. But I'm very, very pleased with Bethesda. I'm one of these guys who, I'm not going to lie to you, when I'm pleased with the game, I'm going to say I'm pleased with them. When I am pissed off with them, I'm going to let everybody know that I'm extremely irritated with them. And I've been very, very irritated with Starfield for the longest time. But I was wrong. They were working, they were doing something. Now we see the fruits of their labor. April 7th, I'm going to have the game. I'm going to, between now and next Talking Tuesday, I'm going to sit down with Sweet Kitty Pie and I'm going to come up with my schedule for streaming. It's going to be Grand Theft Auto and then Starfield and then Minecraft. We're going to get more games into my week. How that's going to look for now, I really don't know, but we're going to see how this works. So, Bethesda, hats off to you, man. Thank you very much. I hope this content is as good as I think it's going to be. And don't wait 2 years for the next one. That's where I'm kind of hanging up on whether I rebuy this game again. Is it going to take over 2 years for you to get off your ass and bring us more content? 1,600 planets, 5 in use right now. You got a very open canvas to do whatever you want. Mitchell, thank you for watching over on TikTok. Remember, the comments are live and I will read and I will respond. All right, Arc Raiders, what are you out there doing? We reported on some very good things about Arc Raiders last week, but this one isn't so good. And I'm going to warn you guys now. It isn't controversial, but it could be hurtful to some people. So if you've been traumatized by sexual assault or sexual harassment, you can go ahead and mute me or take off for about 5 minutes and then come back, rejoin me, because I'll be done with this. I'll try and make this as quick as possible. But it directly affects Arc Raiders. Arc Raiders studio splits with co-founder over unsustainable situation involving streamer allegations. And these are some pretty serious allegations that that he's facing or faced. Longtime EA veteran Rob Runson co-founded Embark Studios in 2018 and served as its chief content officer. Although he was naughty. Naughty. Arc Raiders developer Embark Studios has mutually agreed to part ways with co-founder and chief content officer Rob Runson, according to an IGN report, following allegations of sexual misconduct with a streamer. Embark said its investigation did not substantiate the claim, but that the decision to part ways was made based on the situation had proven unsustainable. I don't know how much of this not substantiated, I believe, but we're gonna give enough rope to the company right now. The allegations against Runson were initially shared anonymously by someone who claimed to have spoken to a popular female streamer of the finals, who allegedly made the statements about being in a romantic and sexual relationship with Runson that they could not escape because of their reliance on Runson for stream promotions. Those allegations were eventually made public by streamer, I'm going to murder your name and I do apologize, Ballsy. Balise. I think I said it right. And were also shared on the Finals subreddit. The Finals streamer who made the initial statements about Runson told IGN that a number of the allegations cited were either out of context or misleading. Despite that, Embark and Runson decided it would be for the best to part ways. Well, it is always a good thing to keep everything professional, no matter what you do. When you get a little relaxed, when you get a little complacent, this happens to you. When you get complacent with life, that's when it normally jumps up and bites you in the rear end. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this, only because I really don't. I like to keep this nice and festive. It's kind of hard to though. Arc Raiders is one of the most popular games right now. So kudos to Embark Studios for getting in front of this. Kudos for them. and I'm pretty sure that it was a we're parting ways uh, forcibly, but we'll let everybody know it was mutually. So awesome on them. Awesome, awesome on them. All right, let's get the hell out of that one. I always feel like I'm going to step in a landmine whenever I talk about that. All right, Todd Howard. We're back to Bethesda now. So if you remember back in 2018, Todd Howard announced the Elder Scrolls 6. I believe it was at E3. Since that game has come out, we've had numerous DLCs to Fallout 76. We had a Shadow Drop of Oblivion. We had Starfield come out. Now Starfield pretty much is getting a completely a once over from the inside while it's still launched. All that time, not a peep on Elder Scrolls. Todd Howard would really have preferred not to announce the Elder Scrolls 6 a full 8 years ago. Sounds like just pretend we didn't announce it. Doesn't exist. No one heard a word. Oh, Todd Howard, we did. I also constantly make comments. I really wish I hadn't. So I understand. Depends on what day you catch me on. But yeah, I can see that. And look, man, Todd Howard's in a very tough position where he's at. He has got 3 games that are insanely, insanely popular. And they're trying to juggle all 3. When it comes to Elder Scrolls 6, Todd Howard has one message for you. What even is that? So says Todd in a recent chat with IGN, where he reflected that, yeah, since Bethesda announced it was working on 6 Elder Scrolls all the way back in 2018, he's changed his attitude towards announcing things a little. But given he can't put that genie back in the bottle, he jokes that we all should just pretend we didn't announce it. It doesn't exist. No one has heard a word. Sorry to tell you, Todd. We heard it. We know it exists. And yes, you absolutely did announce it. This is just to reiterate a gag on Todd Howard has not suddenly forgotten. He announced Elder Scrolls 6, but it is emblematic of his big philosophy of game announcements. When you go and press play, you're about to play a game. What do you already know? What's in your head? What's your excitement level? What's your expectations? And I back up from there. I prefer not to talk about stuff until then. You see, normally I would agree with that. Normally I would go, he has a point. And I can't say that with this. We are knocking on the door of a game dropping that we have heard about for almost 2 years. And it is still widely popular. Everybody still wants their hands on it. And that's Grand Theft Auto 6. Very little has come out about it. We've had a couple trailers. We've seen some artwork. But other than that, we don't know much. That's a pretty different approach than the one which led Bethesda to show us that one goddamn image of the Elder Scrolls 6 that this author who I'm reading from will probably have to use as an image in this article for lack of alternatives. That all we know and love, I like it. I like to compress that moment where you hear about a game to when you can play it. That's garbage. I'll get to that in a minute, says Howard. Those would be the top of each other if I had my way every time. You can't do that. Announce. Okay, let's back up just a little bit. Starfield is doing a good job right now. Starfield, and I can't believe I'm putting them out there as being something that that they should emulate because they've been dropping the ball so much on them. They announced it now, March 17th. By the way, happy St. Patrick's Day. And it's dropping on April 7th. So you've got a whole like 2-week window from announcement, build up that excitement, play. When they announced Elder Scrolls 6, it should have been 2 to 6 months out from that game being in hand. I feel for the Elder Scrolls community. They've watched numerous Fallouts come out as far as DLCs. They've watched Starfield launch. They've watched a DLC for Starfield, and now a completely revamped under the hood while it's still running to Starfield. Not a peep for Elder Scrolls. They get Oblivion, a shadow drop. Almost like, here you go. Play with this for, I don't know, a couple years. We might get to Elder Scrolls 6. When will we see the next Elder Scrolls come out? Wish I could tell you. But it sounds like Bethesda's spinning a lot of plates. We're working on a lot of stuff. I think if you look at the scale of our studio, we could have 10 times the amount of people to do all this. We're doing so much, and it's just finding the right times to tell everybody about it. Today, I suppose, it's Starfield's turn. But tomorrow, who knows? Tomorrow, you ain't going to be announcing nothing. We already know that. So I guess at the end of the day, and I guess where I'm at is Elder Scrolls, I'm sorry you're not getting anything of value. I'm happy that Starfield is, because I'm a Starfield player. But Bethesda, you need to come out with an Elder Scrolls. You just need to bite the bullet and do it. We all know that we're not getting a Fallout 5 until Elder Scrolls 6. We already know that. However, what you have said is Fallout is what you are paying attention to. That is where all your energy is going. And me and Zanara Crush Runner, we talked about this on the Nomad Gamers, where I'm predicting that Fallout 5 will leapfrog the Elder Scrolls. It only makes sense. You got Fallout, the TV show, that's wildly popular. You got Fallout 4, that because of that TV show, is popular again. You got New Vegas, is wildly popular because season 2 was there. Fallout 76 is finally getting its steam. Don't know how much more they can do, but they're doing it. The next logical step is to keep the money rolling and come out with a Fallout 5. Elder Scrolls 6 should be the next one, but I for some reason I don't think it's going to be. For some reason, and I say it because if they got jumped by Starfield, not once but twice, I think the third one is going to be Fallout jumping them. Just my opinion, though. And it's probably not a very good one either. All right, so last topic of the night. I saved this one because I got a lot of criticism for Square Enix. I got a lot of criticism for the for the Final Fantasy. But Final Fantasy VII is launching a part 3. With Final Fantasy VII Rebirth out of the way, the Final Fantasy VII Remake project is about 2/3 complete. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth concludes at perhaps the most famous plot point of the original game. The original game was awesome. I put it up in my personal top 5, which is followed by a series of shocking, significant developments. As such, there's a lot of dense, compelling narrative ground for Rebirth's sequel to cover. One of the things I didn't like about Fallout 7's remake was, and they can do this because it's their product, but how they kind of sidestep some of the story. I forgot that it was a 3-disc game back in '97, and thanks to Zanar Crest Rider, he reminded me of that. But it still begs to differ. If you're going to remake this game, I'd have to look it up, but I'm sure it's been years from the first one to the second one, and I think this next one's coming pretty quickly. But you're looking at years. Fallout, or not Fallout, god damn it. Final Fantasy VII was 3 discs, dropped at once, back in the 90s, and I would argue was probably one of the best games of the 90s. Now you get this remake, and they're spreading it out. I think what they're doing is they're using it as a cash cow. Given the precedent set by Final Fantasy VII Remake and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, there's a strong chance that several elements from the original Final Fantasy VII will continue to be altered or expanded upon in the third remake chapter. Although Rebirth alone is considerably longer and much more content rich than the entirety of the original Final Fantasy VII, both it and remake technically only covers the first of 3 discs, equating to about 50% of the main story content. In other words, there's plenty for Square Enix to work with, given the third Final Fantasy VII remake the potential to be the biggest and most ambitious one yet. When are they going to bring back my chocobo races? I want to race those damn ostriches, or what looks like ostriches. They were amazing. But this is amazing, though. Okay, I have a lot of criticism for Final Fantasy. I have a lot of criticism for Square Enix, but they're doing what they think is right for the franchise, and I can't knock that, even though I don't agree with it. If you're a Final Fantasy fan, this is playing right into your wheelhouse. You're getting more Final Fantasies over the last 5 years than people are getting Elder Scrolls. And Final Fantasy has a game like Fallout 76. So, what is the problem, Bethesda? Oh, so yeah, Final Fantasy. It's coming out again. Only 50%. That's huge. 50% of the story is all that's been made. That's crazy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that does it for Talking Tuesday. That is all I have for Talking Tuesday. Man, there was some very big content in there. There were some very big announcements. Tomorrow, Wednesday, I'm going to be streaming Grand Theft Auto 5. My surprise never panned out. So it'll be a Grand Theft Auto 5 night. I'll check with JJ and see if we're going to start on the Doomsday heist. If we are, you might want to come watch that. There's going to be a lot of chaos. We are probably going to fail it at least 2 or 3 times before we finally get it, which is good because I'm flat broke on Grand Theft Auto Online right now. Thursday, 7:30, right here, where we go around, we look at all of our favorite games. Friday, I don't know if I'm gaming yet. I'll let you know on Thursday. Saturday is the Nomad Gamers. I may or may not be streaming after that. I don't know yet. And then Sunday is Sunday Fun Day with Minecraft. Ladies and gentlemen, remember, it is March. We're going to have some very nice days coming up. And every spring and every summer, my schedule slows down just a little bit. I have to twist that throttle. I got to tear that pavement up. I got to ride my motorcycle with my brothers. I got to do what I got to do. I just do. So I will let you know when I'm streaming. It may not be for the full 3 hours, but I'm not going to leave y'all hanging. We're going to still be doing our thing, just tamp down throughout the week. And then we'll kick it up on the weekends. Do not forget, if you like what you saw tonight, please share. Share me with one of your friends who is a gamer. Share the Nomad Gamers with them. Go over to the Nomad Gamers Facebook page. Give them a follow. Tell your friend to. Tell your mama to. Tell your auntie to. Tell whoever you got to. But at the end of the day, we just need 7 more, and then we have our goal. Remember to tune in every night at 7:30, unless I say otherwise, for nightly streams, Talking Tuesday, Thirsty Thursday, all that good shit. So, I haven't talked to Santiago here lately. I'm going to try and start that up again tomorrow. But in his words, you're beautiful the way you are. Your negativity cannot and will not break me. If you're out there playing a game and you run across a griefer and that griefer needs blowing the fuck up, you blow that motherfucker up. Thank you so much for your love. Thank you so much for your support. I couldn't do this without you guys. Over on all my other social medias, we've been averaging between, and I think we hit a new high tonight, between 12 and 15 viewers. We're down to 3 right now, but 12 to 15, they've been coming and they've been going. They've been rocking and they've been rolling, and that's good. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Over on TikTok Live, we had 35 total viewers. And holy cow, someone really, really liked the content tonight. I got 481 likes. It's amazing. It's awesome. Thank you so much. Until I see you again tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, or Daylight Savings Time. Whatever the hell it is. It's Central.